Michael Lerner, influential rabbi activist who with his wife launched Tikkun magazine in 1986, an intellectually serious magazine providing a platform for liberal voices, because he felt that the Jewish establishment was too unwilling to push Israel to seek peace with the Palestinians. Unable to raise funds to continue the magazine, it published its last issue in spring of 2020. Zvulun Charlap, for 37 years, was dean of the rabbinical seminary at Yeshiva University, where he oversaw a period of enormous growth for the modern Orthodox institution and the transition of the study of both Jewish and secular learning, which would enable students to take part fully in general society. Walter Jacob, Rabbi Walter Jacob, who 60 years after he left Germany as a refugee, returned to help revive its liberal Jewish community. The longtime rabbi of Pittsburgh's Rodef Shalom congregation founded the Abraham Geiger College at the University of Potsdam, the first liberal or reform rabbinical seminary in continental Europe to open since the Holocaust. Barry Silver, spiritual leader of Lador Vador Synagogue in Boynton Beach, Florida. He was also an attorney, Florida legislator, community activist, environmentalist, singer-songwriter, athlete, and Trekkie. He had just authored a new book, Cosmic Judaism, Uniting Judaism and Science to Enlighten the World. Ruth Westheimer, whose taboo-breaking radio program, Sexually Speaking, made her the most famous sex therapist in the world, albeit one with a motherly demeanor and thick German accent. For several years, Dr. Ruth had a regular program on JBS, The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth Westheimer, which was a favorite of many of our viewers. Born in Germany, her mother arranged for her to be on a kinder transport to Switzerland after her father was arrested by the Nazis. She never saw her parents again. When the war ended, she went to then Palestine, where she served as a sniper in the Haganah, but was severely wounded during the War of Independence in 1948. Her life story is told in Mark St. Germain's play, Becoming Dr. Ruth, which has been performed regularly since 2012. She wrote close to 30 books, including Roller Coaster Grandma, a graphic novel autobiography for 8 to 12-year-olds that talks about her experience during the Holocaust. Martin Greenfield, a survivor of Auschwitz and Buchenwald, immigrated to the United States to become a master tailor for a series of presidents, from Dwight Eisenhower to Barack Obama. And he learned how to sew while a prisoner at Auschwitz, when he had to repair a Nazi's shirt that he had accidentally torn. Nina Gottlieb, who for 8 decades kept silent about her experience during the Holocaust, broke her silence in an award-winning documentary, Nina and Irina, made by her grandson. It won Best Short Film at the festival in Telluride. Lily Ebert, a British writer and Holocaust survivor who in later life became known for her memoir and social media videos and media appearances documenting her life as a survivor of genocide. Her TikTok videos had 2 million followers. Arno Allen Penzias, a child survivor of the Holocaust who shared the 1978 Nobel Prize in Physics for discoveries that would confirm the Big Bang Theory. Dan Morgenstern, a Holocaust survivor who discovered jazz as a Jewish teen in Copenhagen during and after World War II. After enjoying the Boston jazz scene as a student at Brandeis University, he became one of the country's most influential jazz scholars and critics. Dr. George Bercy, barred from medical school, he studied mechanical engineering, and after surviving World War II, he studied as a surgeon in Budapest before coming to the U.S., where he combined his medical training and engineering skills to develop the tools and techniques of laparoscopy, the minimally invasive procedure that allows surgeons to perform delicate operations without major incisions. Vanya Bansovsky, the last living Vilna Ghetto partisan resistance fighter who remained in Lithuania after the war to become the keeper of the flame of the city's once illustrious Yiddish culture. Eric Goldhagen, a survivor of the Romanian Jewish ghetto in Czernowitz, he taught a course on the Holocaust and genocide. He wrote widely on anti-Semitism, ethnic minorities, and Eastern European Jewry. In 1965, he was tapped to lead the Institute of Eastern European Jewish Affairs at Brandeis University. He was the father of Daniel Jonah Goldhagen, author and former Harvard professor. Zvi Zamir was head of the Mossad from 1968 to 1974 and led the organization's hunt for Palestinian terrorists following the attacks on the Israeli Olympic athletes. Zamir was warned by Egyptians that armed soldiers from Egypt and Syria would on the following day, Yom Kippur, launch a surprise attack on Israel. The warning was not heeded. Yael Dayan, daughter of famed military and political leader Moshe Dayan, chartered her own course as a champion of peace, gay rights, and women's rights in Israel. Naftali Hirschtik, a Hungarian-born Israeli cantor and teacher, descended from a long line of cantors and rabbis. He was recognized as a cantorial prodigy from his early childhood. From 1981 to 2009, he was the chief cantor of the Jerusalem Great Synagogue. Cantor Hirschtik was the general director of the Tel Aviv Cantorial Institute. His son, Netanel Hirschtik, is the cantor at the Hampton Synagogue. Amnon Weinstein, Israeli violin maker and philanthropist and founder with his son Avshalom of the Violins of Hope collection, which comprises stringed instruments connected with the Holocaust. The project aimed to give voice to the victims and reinforce positive messages of hope and harmony. He began to initiate concerts using these symbols of hope. Yehuda Bauer, one of Israel's foremost Holocaust scholars, shaping the way people around the world study and learn about the Holocaust. He published dozens of books and founded numerous international Holocaust education initiatives. Simcha Raz, author best known for his books on Jewish rituals and Hasidic thought, and for biographies of notable Jewish religious authorities. He also hosted a weekly radio talk show seeking to build bridges between his religious community and the wider Israeli public. Joseph Lieberman, a longtime senator from Connecticut who, as Al Gore's running mate, became the first Jewish member of a major presidential ticket. A moderate, some would say conservative, Democrat turned independent, was known for his attempts to build bridges in an increasingly polarized Washington. Lieberman's reputation for outreach to the other side defined his career in the Senate. Martin Indyk, the Jewish academic who brought intellectualism to pro-Israel advocacy and endured heartbreak as a U.S. diplomat committed to bringing peace to Israel, and served as U.S. ambassador to Israel. After that, he served as Assistant Secretary of State and co-founded the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. Frederick Gollum, pioneering physician who waged war on cancer, using chemoimmunotherapy and developing numerous techniques in the battle against cancer, a pioneer of day surgery, performing safe, cost-efficient procedures based on methods he learned while operating on wounded soldiers. Esther Cooper Smith, one of Washington, D.C.'s best-known hostesses and citizen diplomats. She is credited with introducing the wives of Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, perhaps helping the Camp David Accords. Harvey Schulweis, became chairman of the Jewish Foundation for the Righteous, and over the next 31 years raised and distributed more than $45 million in financial assistance to aged and needy Gentiles who rescued and assisted Jews during the Holocaust. Ivan Boesky, an American stock trader known for his prominent role in an insider trading scandal in the mid-1980s. He pled guilty, was fined a record $100 million, served 3 years in prison, and became a government informant. He had given millions to Jewish causes prior to the indictment and served on the boards of several institutions. Anthony Epstein, one of the discoverers of the Epstein-Barr virus. His work profoundly changed how scientists approach the diagnosis, prevention, and treatment of a wide range of cancers and other diseases. He left an enduring mark on the fields of pathology, virology, and oncology. Bert Pogrebin, a longtime partner at Littler Mendelsohn, who represented management in labor negotiations and wrote an essential textbook on the subject, but was better known as the partner of leading feminist Letty Cotton Pogrebin, a co-founder and board member of the Appleseed Network, a social justice network with centers in the U.S. and Mexico. He was the father of Abigail Pogrebin, JBS's host of In the Spotlight. Bernie Marcus, billionaire who co-founded Home Depot and became a Republican megadonor and supporter of civic and political causes in the United States and Israel. Over the course of his life, Marcus donated more than $2 billion to various causes, including Jewish and medical organizations. He left behind an estimated $11 billion that will mostly go to the Marcus Foundation, whose main goal is to improve the cure rates of childhood brain tumors through direct funding of organized clinical research. Felice Garr, the director of the American Jewish Committee's Jacob Blaustein Institute for the Advancement of Human Rights, assuring Jews a seat at the table in global debates around torture, political repression, LGBT rights, and anti-Semitism. Steve Lawrence, singer and top stage act, who with wife Edie Gourmet were known as Steve and Edie and made frequent appearances on talk shows, nightclubs, and the stages of Las Vegas.
It never entered my mind.
I can't say no.
It's a grand night for swinging.
I can't say no.
Mary Weiss, known for her powerful voice, was the lead singer of the 1960s teen girl group, the Shangri-Las, who had hits with Remember Walking in the Sand, Give Him a Great Big Kiss, and their enduring #1 hit, Leader of the Pack. Julie Robinson Belafonte, the Jewish-born second wife of Harry Belafonte, who joined him in raising funds for the civil rights movement, strategizing with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She also co-founded the Women Division of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Richard Lewis, an American stand-up comedian, actor, and writer, best known for his dark comedy, self-deprecating humor, and for frank discussions regarding his many neuroses, as well as his struggles with alcoholism and drug addiction.
I've been with, and I'm no gift. Yeah. I'm a wacko, and yet I've been with wackettes. I've been with wackettes.
Shecky Green, the consummate Las Vegas comedian, he was revered by his peers and live audiences as one of the greatest stand-up acts of his generation.
Come on and hang that cradle mine. Right upon that maiden eating line. And one of the chorus boys said, Mr. Jolson, your pants are ripped.
Teri Garr, comedy actress who starred in such films as Tootsie and Young Frankenstein. In the 1970s, she came into her own by starring in such classic films like Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation and Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Sometimes I even think you're listening to me when I'm talking on the telephone.
Arthur Frommer, known for his best-selling travel book, Europe on $5 a Day, which allowed many middle-class individuals the means to explore the world in ways once reserved for the very wealthy. 6 decades later, some 350 titles from his company's book has sold 75 million copies. Marshall Brickman, a low-key writer whose show business career ranged across movies, late-night television comedy, and Broadway with the hit musical Jersey Boys, but who may be best remembered for collaborating on 3 of Woody Allen's most enthusiastically praised films, Annie Hall, Manhattan, and Sleeper. Ken Holtzman, who played 15 seasons in the major leagues, was the winningest Jewish pitcher in baseball history. The MLB veteran threw 2 no-hitters, won 4 World Series rings, and made 2 All-Star teams. Kinky Friedman, Texan country singer and mystery novelist, whose body of work often seemed like the unkosher marriage of the Borscht Belt and the Bible Belt. He was the frontman for the flamboyant 1970s country group Kinky Friedman and the Texas Jew Boys.
I ain't thinking carpenters who know what nails are for.
Mark Podwall created illustrations for children's books, major newspapers, synagogue tapestries, and gallery walls. He devised a Jewish visual vocabulary that made him one of the best-known Jewish artists of his era. His works are included in the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Modern and Contemporary Art Collection. And lastly, we remember the hostages who were slain in captivity by Hamas terrorists in Gaza. Among them, American citizens. May all of their memories be for a blessing.